5 raptures in American history that turned out to be complete hoaxes. The first one is fittingly called the Great Disappointment of 1844, in which a Christian preacher, James Miller, swore that the rapture was coming on October 22nd of that year, and a lot of people believed it. In fact, over 100,000 clueless Christians sold their belongings, walked away from their responsibilities to prepare for this rapture, only to be very disappointed on October 23rd. The second one was in 1910 due to Halley's Comet, and it was wittingly called the Comet Panic of 1910. And while a lot of people were terrified, the Christians gained a great deal of notoriety, saying that yes, this was truly end times, and the same thing happened as to the poor Millerites of 1844. The third and fourth big ones were started by the same guy, Harold Camping, in 1994 and 2011, and he was a Christian radio broadcaster. His show was called Family Radio, and in 1994 he garnered about tens of thousands of gullible Christians to believe that this was actually going to happen, and then when it didn't, he said, oh, he messed up the timing. But by 2011, he was sure of it, and he had quite a substantial following. In fact, according to a Gallup survey, by 2011, there were 3% of Americans in the sample who were convinced that the world was going to end. So he convinced 9 million people, but I'm sure only a handful, maybe 100,000 or 200,000, did any physical commitments towards that idea. And 1 year after his failed prediction, once again, he repents for his sinful prediction. He said that his mistake was one of arrogance, since nobody can really know the hour of the end. Now, the fifth failure of the rapture was the most striking to me, and that happened in 1988. Sorry to step out of the time sequence, but I wanted to mention this because the guy who predicted it was a rocket engineer for NASA by the name of Edward Whisenant, and he wrote the book 88 Reasons Why the Rapture Will Happen in 1988. And when I said distributed, I mean actually sold in Christian bookstores. So this guy made a great deal of money with the failed prediction. And because he was so proficient in mathematics, he relied heavily on numbers to justify why 1988 had to be the year of the rapture. He relied heavily on the numbers 7, 40, 47, and he believed that the foundation of that new country that I'm not allowed to talk about was one of the greatest signs that the world had to finally end within a few generations. And of course, when it didn't happen, he said it was going to happen in 1989, then 1993, and then a couple of other years, and then people just dismissed him outright because it was ridiculous. And that is exactly what we're going to see by the end of tomorrow, September 23rd, 2025. A lot of Christians swearing up and down that no, it's going to be the next day or maybe some other time. There are only 2 reasons why people are pushing the rapture talk narrative. 1, they just want the clicks and they want the attention. And 2, these people have made such horrible mistakes with their entire lives that they want the world to end just so they could potentially start over, or so it could just be over. Oh, you think you're special?